What a day for 49er fans to not have a game and sit there at 3-0. And let's go back to last Thursday for a sec. Remember the conversation we were having? I guess this conversation was Friday. But you and I both attended the game, and we came in here. The 49ers won by 18 points. Thank you. 18 points. Scored 30 again, 30 Purdy 30, whichever order you want. And largely, the thought from many was, that was just fine.
Shaky early.
Didn't quite look like I wanted it to look. Okay. I don't know if that was most of you. It might have only been a smattering.
Thank you for smattering.
Not just social media, though, because I told you. My buddies texted me. This game's a dud. Okay. My neighbor was like, I didn't think they looked very good. So if you're one of these folks, came out of Thursday night and went, man, I don't know about these Niners, man. This is a little bit shaky. You are officially bordering on entitled. You're bordering on entitled.
Or delusional, I think, would be even better. I mean,
it's not like they looked perfect. Purdy was shaky for a drive or two, but since when is that something to write home about?
Yeah.
You freak out because a drive or two didn't look right, or a throw or two didn't look right. Have you ever watched a football game where a throw or two didn't look wrong? Maybe that's football.
Yes.
There's always some throws that are almost picked or overthrown or whatever.
Even Tua yesterday, who was as close to perfect as perfect can be, he was 23 of 26. There were 3 throws that he made that were not caught by his team.
Correct.
3 throws, Mark.
Yeah, the ball hit the end zone more than the ground.
4 touchdowns, 3 incompletes.
Yeah.
Not perfect. I mean, if you want perfect, that wasn't perfect.
Well,
I think he was like 16 for 16.
His backup had a better quarterback rating than he did.
I love quarterback rating. I'm looking at it right now.
Mike White, 2 for 2 with a teddy.
Yeah.
At a bet, Mike.
67 yards. I just think about what we saw yesterday, and you had undefeated Atlanta, they lost. Undefeated New Orleans, they lost. Undefeated Commanders,
God,
they lost. All these teams that, 2-0, get to 3-0, and the Niners are 3-0.
There's only 4 of them left, and we're losing another one tonight because 2 of them are playing each other.
In theory, Mark, and I have to always bring you back to the theory because we almost had a draw.
I will bet you everything
Colts and Ravens, and
I'll bet you everything I own there's not a tie in this game.
Shut up, Bread. Everything I own.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take that bet. I do want to say this because
you know that I don't own a lot. But anyway, go ahead.
And you know that I love the officials more than any other radio host in the country.
Might be more than any other person in the country.
I'm going to say this once, and I hope we're not recording it.
The referees' parents don't love them as much as you do.
I mean, Ed Hockley, I know you love your son, and I do too.
I love Ed Hockley.
Close.
He's set. Let's leave Hockley out of this, okay?
The no call in the Ravens-Colts game on 4th down and overtime, it wasn't criminal. And if it was criminal, it was a misdemeanor. It wasn't a felony.
It's a penalty.
It's PI.
It's PI.
It was a blown call.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say.
Good for you.
I've come a long way, Mike. I've come a long way, Mark.
I can tell you really watched Red Zone yesterday.
I'm itching. I watched the whole thing.
You saw all the games.
Dude, I saw it all.
How many missed calls bothered you?
3.
What were the other 2?
I don't even know. I just said 3. It's funny because 3 is always. I had a former
3.
boss where and I'll do the Nahigian just because I don't do a Don Collins, but I got 3 emails complaining about X, Y, or Z. It's like, you got 3, you didn't get 2, you didn't get 4, you got 3.
3.
3's a lie. Anytime anybody says, 3, they're lying to you.
Huh?
3 is the line number because if you say 2. Then it's, 2, you can dismiss it. And if you say 4, it's like, whoa, 4.
Ask me how many times I've hit a hole in one in my life.
I would rather not. I know the answer is 3.
Number 3.
I hate you.
I
hate that I know that.
Am I lying? Am I lying now?
Only one of your holes in one is real. The other 2 are podunk, Mickey Mouse.
It's such a hater answer. It's unbelievable. Oh my gosh.
Some podunk 54-yard.
I put it out to the audience one night. It was late at night and nobody cared what the hell was going on or what we were talking about anymore. So I did get a little bit of a poll out on the internet and just callers with regard to do holes.
Do they count?
Do holes in one at the executive course level, do they count? And you will not be surprised to know that a good solid 80% of the public is like, yes, they do. For crying out loud, it's a hole in one. Hell, I'm counting the ones I get at Malibu. I'm like, I putted that thing around the corner. And
through the loop-de-loop?
Yeah, and it went in. Count it.
Score it.
Yeah, I got 68 of them. Anyway, go
Your
ahead.
holes in one are like me getting, that's a good question from Larry Krueger. They don't count.
Not the same at all.
It's exactly the same.
That guy literally says it after every question.
Yes. Anyway,
you were saying.
Ravens, Colts, that was PI.
Agreed.
So, I mean, we might have been heading for a draw, although Justin Tucker is going to make that field goal. So the Ravens, they kind of got robbed in that one. But in terms of the Niners, they're 3-0. And I hope that everybody today can at least have a greater sense of appreciation after watching all of that yesterday.
I want to mention also, they're not just 3-0. There has not been one iota of stress inside the final 5 minutes of any of these games,
right,
except for whether or not Sean McVay knew the spread. That's literally the only stress the only stress came from people who had the Niners minus 7.5. That's it. This has been stress-free final 5 minutes. 2 of the 3 were on the road. The other one was Thursday Night Football, which is wacky. I'm not trying to build excuses. I don't have to. None are needed here. Like, this is, you got to look at this right now and think to yourself, I mean, has Kyle Shanahan ever had a cleaner start? Ever had a cleaner start to anything in his career?
I'd have to Google it, but I don't think so. It feels like no.
Yeah.
I know his first year he started out 0-10, which feels a little bit dirtier than this start.
Well, and the good years usually start out 3-4.
Or 3-5, yeah.
Or 3-5.
No doubt. And so here you are at 3-0, and you mentioned it. You're running out of undefeated teams.
Yeah.
And you look at the Cowboys. We both last week said they should both be 4-0 when they face each other.
Should be.
Not this weekend, but next weekend. And then the Cowboys kind of showed their true colors, maybe.
Well, listen, week to week, stuff happens in the NFL. Like, everybody, there's a reason survivor pools are hard. And shout out to everybody who lost with Dallas yesterday. Dallas or Jacksonville. That was another one that got a lot of people yesterday. More than half the people in my pool already gone 3 weeks in. Gone. Yeah, it's tough. And the reason it's tough is because crap happens, man. It happens in the NFL. So I'm not here to bury the Cowboys. I will also say, while I don't suddenly think Arizona's good, they've been, can we give them our word? I think we should give it to them, Dibs.
Adorable?
No, they've been plucky.
Okay.
They're kind of plucky,
adorable.
don't you think? Look at their 3 games, okay? They go to Washington. They had the lead in the second half. They lost a 4-point game. They were competitive.
Thank you.
They were competitive. Okay.
He's a competitor.
Thank you. Week 2, they got the New York Giants in town, and they are housing them, absolutely blowing them out. And then Danny Dimes gets on a roll, and they blow it in the fourth quarter. I think the game ends up in overtime, right? Wasn't that an overtime final against the Giants? And then here comes Dallas, potentially overconfident and potentially emotionally kind of smacked upside the head with what happened with Trayvon Diggs. And they were aggressive and they were good and they got him. I'll at minimum say this about Arizona. I don't think that they're going to threaten the 49ers this weekend at all. They're better than I thought they were going to be. At least they're better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
I thought survivor pools, you could just chase them. Whatever city they went
just
to,
fade
I'm
'em.
like, let's go with that team. I think that's the Bears now, actually. Not the Cardinals.
the Bears.
It's the Bears.
The spread hasn't really reacted to yesterday's result that much. It's down to 14. It was 14 and a half, yeah. This according to
That's a
DraftKings
lot.
and
It's a
FanDuel.
lot.
Yeah, 14, flat 14. So maybe that moved a half point. And I don't know if it even goes below 14 because that's kind of a magic number in terms of NFL games. But Niners coming off a baby bye and Arizona coming in off a road game at home. So we'll see the dreaded road game at home.
Aren't they all?
That thing was all Dallas.
Of course.
And, I mean, they punched Dallas in the nose right away.
They really did. And then when Dallas battled back, they punched them again.
Right.
Like they really, that was not there was nothing fluky about it. Arizona outplayed Dallas all 4 quarters and won the football game by double digits.
Yeah, and so now they get a date here in Santa Clara, second of 3 at home, and I don't think that the Niners will be looking past Arizona anymore, looking at Dallas. If Dallas would have gone in there and won 34-3, you could kind of get the sense that maybe the Niners would do what Dallas did yesterday, which is overlook Arizona, but not now.
No, I agree with that. And so it brings a lot of focus to, as we said, the healthy programs that are out there. When I look around the league even, like I'm not going to even give it to teams like Cincinnati. Cincinnati, who have left one of their really good receivers just kind of sitting out there high and dry, and T. Higgins, like he's not going to be a part of their future. Joe Burrow is hurt. By the way, as of exactly an hour ago, Zach Taylor still says, don't know if Joe's playing tonight. Going to give it another hour or two. I have seen a report that says it's trending in the right direction for Joe to actually play. But good Lord, with what Doc Pandia said to us last week, if you are a Joe Burrow fan, a fantasy owner, or just a Bengal fan, I'd be terrified if he plays tonight, because he said those calf injuries, when they happen, it leaves your Achilles vulnerable. He said, just remember what happened to Durant. Try to play through a similar injury, and that was it. That was a wrap. And so I think it's kind of nauseating, the feeling of what it would be like to send Joe Burrow out there tonight. But anyway, so I'm not going to give it to Cincinnati. I think Kansas City's a healthy program. 49ers are a healthy program. I think the Eagles are a healthy program. Miami's feeling healthy right now. Buffalo's feeling healthy. I think Detroit is maybe just about there, like in terms of the coaching, the programming,
sure,
the identity, if you will.
I worry about the quarterback a little bit, and Jared has been much better in Detroit than he was in L.A., but he still, to me, is prone to make the big mistake at the wrong possible moment. They're 2-1, and they look good yesterday, beating Atlanta, but still he found a way to give the Falcons one. It was a pretty ugly INT.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put Detroit in that same class just yet. I think that they're the pride of the NFC North. But
I don't think they're as good as those other teams. I just mean the health of their program. Do they have an identity?
Yes.
Do they have a coach they like? Does it feel like they're making good draft picks, acquisitions, moving in the right direction, improving year to year? I think that they're just about there.
Yeah.
Just about.
That's fair. And in terms of the program, like you were saying, they look like a team that has an identity. If the quarterback's not good enough, well, that'll get proven out over time. And I love Jared Goff from Marin Catholic, as you well know, but I'm just not fully ready to put him in that upper echelon. But I do think that they have an identity in terms of what they're trying to do.
So when you have a good program, what do you do? Like I've heard this a couple of times on even our station earlier today, where people, even though relative health, yes, 3-0, it's a time of positivity around the organization, people are kind of scratching their head in terms of, why did Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch get this extension now? Like normally we think of things like deadline spur action, right? Well, there was no deadline. He's not up this year. He's not even up next year.
Yeah.
They were all going to be up the year after that. So 2025, some might say, why don't you wait until Kyle Shanahan proves it a little bit more? Organization might be thinking, well, then it's too late because then it gets more expensive. If we go out there and win the Super Bowl, well, now that extension is going to get even worse. I don't know behind the scenes what the quote-unquote reason was for it. I guess what I don't understand from fans is, why wouldn't you react to it by just saying, why not? Why not? Like, what's the downside of, we've got a program, it makes sense, it's working, we've got one of the best coaches in the NFL, we do not have discord right now at all within this organization. Like, yeah, sign him up. Sign him up for as long as he wants to be signed.
Right.
Why wouldn't you?
Why not? I mean, there's no cap ramifications. There's no negative to it. I think there's only positives. And like you're saying, if they do go out and win the Super Bowl and then you want to extend them, well, that price tag absolutely goes up for both of them. So you do it now knowing that you're happy with both. And if you're Jed York and you like where this team is, you like where the franchise is, gone are the days of Tom Sula and Chip Kelly and even, the Jim Harbaugh days, which were met with success, but it was never an easy feeling and there was alienation and all the rest of it. And now you've got a coach and a GM, and everybody's on the same page and a really good team, so why not do it?
I mean, I wonder who started the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, who called who? Been like, hey, we need to talk about a few more years on the deal, even though I'm not up anytime soon. So it's not like it was obviously time for this conversation, but it started. So who started it? I don't know. I wonder if Kyle or the 49ers, I don't want to act like the media and the fans motivate anybody with all of our chatter.
Right.
But you wonder if it was like, can we get this whole, and it's not the Super Bowl or bust thing, but maybe post-Trey Lance experience, which is normally something that puts a coach and a GM in a very bad light. I wonder if the organization wanted to, or if Kyle and John even wanted, like, let's get out in front of the fact that we are still 100% behind this program.
This feels to me like it was the ownership that made the move, and maybe it's because of what you talked about. Like, we want to let you know that, yes, you messed up, but we're going to reward you not for messing up, but we're going to reward you for still being really, really good, even though you made a massive mistake. So it feels to me more like Jed York going to them and saying, hey, Kyle, how do you feel about an extension? And Kyle said, well, I feel pretty good and stuff, and I'd like to, be here, and I enjoy it and stuff, and my wife and kids like it here and stuff, and I think I'll sign on for a few more years and stuff.
And I like money and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Before we lose, I think I should sign the deal now and
exactly.
stuff.
Can we do it a 4-week 5?
Totally. Just in case.
Just in case.